Good morning, afternoon, and night. Not sure why I'm walking through the door when the big door is open, but good morning, afternoon, and night, and welcome to the channel. Today we are answering the big question, and that is, well, we're not just answering the big question, we're talking about everything that has to do with this car, but the big question of why would you buy two seemingly identical Corvettes? Now, let's start with the big one. Let's talk about the price of this one, which is what I always do when I get a new car. So this car MSRP'd at about $94,000. I believe I have the Windows sticker right here. Yes, I do. So you can see that it's a little bit more expensive than this car was, which MSRP'd at like $83, so about $10,000 more. And yep, you can see there are $93,500. Now, of course, I didn't pay anywhere close to that. These Corvettes have great discounts now for 2017s and 2018 Grand Sports and Stingrays. Corvette production is now over for anybody who does not know. Production will resume in December, so if you want a Corvette, you got to get one pretty soon because they are going fast. The discounts you can get on these cars are great because of that fact. They are trying to move them, so you can get like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 off of MSRP depending on how expensive the car is. So the crazy thing is, and this is why I recommend Matt and Whitmoyer Chevrolet. It's why I work so closely with that dealership because they're no bullshit. Matt's a great dude. He's very honest. He can give you the best possible price on a car. And what's crazy is I paid virtually the same, like within a couple $100, virtually the same for this car as I did for this car a year and 4 months ago. Now, of course, yeah, it's a year and 4 months ago. This is a 2016 Z06. They were much more in demand back then. There weren't as many discounts, so I mean, you can see why. But I got a car that's a 2LZ car, carbon ceramics, which are $8,000 by themselves, black mirrors, and some other things here and there. I got a car that's considerably more expensive and with a lot more options for the same price as I did for this one back in the day. Which means that when I fix this car eventually, which for anybody who does not know, or if you are new to the channel, this is my, god damn it. No, not Bluetooth. How do I do speakerphone? Shane interrupted my vlog. I don't know what car my phone is currently connected to. Anyway, if you are new to the channel, I don't know where I left off, but if you are new to the channel or you don't know, this is my 1,000 horsepower, 951, there it is, it's on. That would explain it. This is my 951 wheel horsepower, 1,100 pound-feet of torque to the wheels monster, which is a manual. And this is my brand new Corvette that we just talked about, and this is an 8-speed automatic. So a lot of people were saying, why would you buy that car in an auto? Well, you see, I have one with a stick. Back to the point, all of that means that once I fix this car, the diff is currently broken, and I am returning it back to stock. But once I do fix it and sell it with the stock parts, you know, I'm not gonna lose a whole lot of money, and I can't complain at all. You know, this car, over the past 14 or so months, has provided me with so much content, and I've spent about $30,000 on the build to get it to this point. And I would say that, you guys know I'm very honest with YouTube earnings. I've showed it many times, but this car has not even, I mean, forget about like my Duramax content and the C4 Corvette content, just the videos that have to do with this car have at least made me 200 grand, no doubt about it. So I mean, I can't complain one bit. This car does not owe me a dime. So even if I have to lose 10,000, 15,000 to sell it and move on, that's not a big deal. The fact that I can do this now, I used to watch Top Gear as a kid, and I would think to myself, if I could do that as a job, that would be heaven on earth. And I pretty much get to do that. So it's really cool. And I hope that I can continue to make content that you guys like and enjoy. And I have fun every day. I'm not like the YouTubers that wake up every day and like, oh my God, rainbows and unicorns, and I'm just in the best mood ever, and I hope you are too. The world is wonderful. You know, I'm not that fake or that animated about it, but I really do wake up every day, and I'm very thankful for the life that I have, and I have you guys to thank for that. Just to be clear, this car is currently paid off. This one is not. I owe like $30,000 on it. So that's pretty much, back in the day when I bought this, I think I financed close to $50,000 on it. And this one, I didn't want to spend that much cash, but to get a good interest rate, I had to put a lot more down. I have a pretty good credit score, but it's like 700 basically, exactly 700. So I had to put a little bit more cash down. Normally I would say, you might think, oh, if you can afford it, just pay cash, but really you don't want to use up all your cash. Your cash can make you more money rather than spending it in a or putting it rather in a depreciating asset, because these cars do lose money. I mean, these cars lose like 7 or 8 grand in the first year. They lose a lot, especially, oddly enough, you would think if you buy a higher optioned car, it's going to hold its value more. But if you buy a Corvette with, you know, options that make it cost 120 grand, after a year, that car is going to be worth like 105, if that, probably like in the 90s. Whereas if you buy a base model for like 80, after a year, it's still going to be worth about 70. If you're looking to sell it really quick, you might as well get one without a lot of options. When you talk about your money making you more money as cash, we're talking, of course, about investing. Now, if you are new to the channel, this is not some Wolf of Wall Street stock market guru bullshit. I do invest. It's a very small part of my income. The vast majority of my income, 90% of it, probably 95% of it, is from the YouTube channel. Now, it used to be a little bit more because I had more time and you know, that was part of my job. But you know, now, and I made a lot less, but now that I make more on YouTube, it's a very, very tiny percentage. Now to answer the big question though, and that is of course, why get an identical car? Why not, if you want to build it, just stick with this, just fix it and move on? Well, there's a number of reasons for that, and right now we're going to get into it. Now I'm warning you, this is going to be a bitch fest, and it's going to be a first world problems bitch fest. Once again, I'm very thankful for my life. These are not bad problems to have, you know, complaining about, oh, everything's wrong with my Z06. But nonetheless, it still did make me want to start over. And the fact that probably the biggest thing is that this is an automatic, that's a manual. There's a reason why nobody is building high horsepower manuals in these cars, and that's because everything starts to break. Pretty much goes for any car, and especially drag racing built cars built for drag racing. You just don't see many manuals at that power level and at that speed level. I did learn the hard way for sure. I put a racing clutch in. It's a triple plate, you know, 1,000 horsepower rated clutch. And unfortunately, I really hate it. Let's just start with that. I really hate the behavior of the clutch. I used to love driving my car, and I do love manuals. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have this one I bought as a manual, the Hellcat back in the day when everyone told me don't get the manual Hellcat. They have problems, ran into my mirror, which it did. Mine did have problems. You know, I bought that. My C4 Corvette is a manual. I do love them. You guys don't have to tell me. I'm in full support of the Save the Manuals campaign. But for this car, it made me not like driving a manual because I hate the way the clutch is. The clutch pedal and the door that doesn't fit, we'll talk about that too. It's locked. Here we go, and I put some lights on for better lighting. Sorry, my face was like so. I went to look back at the footage to see what I was talking about, see where I left off, and my face was like pitch black the whole time, so sorry about that. But the clutch pedal, it's gonna be hard to demonstrate, but it really has no resistance. Like, I shouldn't be able to do this with my hand for a racing clutch. You know, I mean, a stock clutch is way firmer than this, and I like that. I like a little bit of firmness. I do like a little bit of firmness. I like a little bit of resistance, and this has none. Like, I can push in, this is a 1,000 horsepower clutch. I can push it in pretty much with one finger. Now, on what you might expect a racing clutch to feel like, that would break my finger, and this one doesn't. So I really hate the resistance level of it. I hate the way it feels. I hate the way it clangs around when the car is running. I guess I can turn it on and demonstrate that. Might also be the throwout bearing, but even before that went bad, the clutch made a lot of noise. I really didn't like it at all. And if you put the clutch in, it's not as bad. Release the clutch, terrible. Clutch in. So it's just, well, as you can hear, it's pretty terrible. So even if I did fix all the issues, I still wouldn't enjoy driving it. And at that point, what is the point? Now I'm gonna show you everything that's wrong with the car and all the shit that makes me wanna say, you know what, I give up and just move on to something brand new. Because I do like to, I'm not an OCD guy like Troy and everything has to be perfectly clean, but I do like everything to be pretty much perfect, or at least in proper working order or the way it's supposed to look. So we'll start with the front splitter. Not a big deal, but it did get ripped off on a road trip from Ohio. A piece of a semi-truck tire flew off and just ripped a huge chunk out of the splitter and kind of pushed it back in. So I would need to replace that. And we'll move right into the big one, boys, the Lambo doors. Now, when I put the Lambo doors on my car, it's not something that I would have done normally, but I said if I got 50,000 likes on a video that I would do it. Didn't think I would get 50,000 likes, but I did. And life is too short to be boring anyway. I said, well, I was fully prepared to get made fun of and whatever, because who the fuck cares? It's something different. So I put Lambo doors on my car, and I paid like $1,000 for the kit, a couple $100 for the install, and the videos I made with it, I would say made at least like 8 or 9 grand. So from a content and financial standpoint, it definitely more than paid off. But here's what I didn't know. I just thought, well, I'll put the Lambo doors on and then I can take them off. But I didn't realize that this kit, first of all, here's what I'm gonna say. Never do this to your car. And that's not a joke, I'm not being sarcastic. Don't do this, it ruins your car. So take it from me. I did ruin my car, that's okay, at least I can pay for it. But you know, these kits are just not good. And the hinges fall out of alignment over time, and of course people that don't know to be careful with it open the door, and of course in my position where I go to shows, people touch the door and open it and look inside and all that stuff. So over the course of the last 5 or 6 months, these doors have destroyed my door and my fender. You can see the paint is chipping off terribly. You can see down here they've fallen out of alignment so much that I can't even close the door anymore. And this is not, I didn't do anything to ruin this. This is just normal operation. And look how bad it is. And you can see it hits the lock mechanism. Look how beat up my lock mechanism is in here, and it's dented in, and the door is fucked up. I mean, this is the alignment of the door, and you want to cringe? How's that for cringe? Yeah, it's fucking cringe. So, unfortunately, and when they installed it, you have to take the door checks out, so I have to get new ones of those. And it's just basically, they have to take the panels off, and it never really goes back together right. So it's really just a bad idea in general. And again, quite honestly, I didn't know it was going to completely ruin my car like it did. I thought it would be, again, silly, but I didn't think there would be long-term repercussions. And now, like I said, it's so bad that I can't even barely close my door. You can latch it, and then it doesn't even go shut. You have to literally put all of your weight into it, and then it will close, as you can see, and the alignment is just awful. So maybe I got a bad kit, maybe the install was bad, I'm not sure, but either way, the Lambo doors are the biggest reason why, and there's damage beyond repair. I mean, of course I could get a new fender or repaint it. I don't know if you could even just repaint it. It might be so chipped up in there that to make it look right, you'd have to get a new fender. You have to cut the inside of the fender to make the kit fit. So the fenders will never go back. You have to take the insulation out. They now move around a lot more. Basically, it's stuff like that where I would have to replace so much, and for what? I knew I had to drill through the hatch, of course, but I didn't think that it was going to be that big of a deal. But the stuff rattles around in there, and the fiberglass pieces of the inner hatch, like you drill through it, but it's not structurally sound enough to do that without it falling apart. So you get a lot of shards that fall out and dust and shit like that. And you can hear the wind when you're driving, so that fucking sucks. The rear bumper, from all the times it's been taken off, doesn't really line up right. It's been taken off. This bumper has been off and on about, I would say 15 or 20 times for sure. This is broken. You can see I just pushed it in. I'll get a little body pry tool. See, this is totally broken. It does not clip in anymore and hold. You can push it in, but it doesn't lock, and then it comes out while you're driving, and I'll pull in the garage sometimes and it'll be hanging out like that. Over here we got the body damage from when somebody hit me, which isn't a big deal. I am going to fix that. I already have the parts, but still a pain in my ass. And moving on to the inside, it's taken a beating in here as well. It's not too bad for 18,000 miles really, but it still isn't great. I do have the suede shift knob and steering wheel. You can see they cut my carpet over here to install the NOS MIDI controller and HP tuners, which I don't really know why they did that. I didn't tell them to do that, and they didn't ask me, but whatever. The center console lid is kind of fucked up, which I've been hard on that. And of course, the nitrous bracket here in the back, you have to drill a bunch of holes. The carpet's fucked up, and you can see those fiberglass pieces that I was talking about. Even with all of that in mind, I could fix it, and some of it wouldn't even be too bad, but I still want to get an automatic car, and the reason why is because I know that more things will keep breaking with this, the manual. That's what everybody says anyway. Everyone says your next step is getting a new tranny. I don't want to do that. If I'm already at the point where I don't like driving it because of the clutch behavior and everything else, why would I continue down this path when I can start over, build a drag car? And by the way, when I get a new 2019 ZR1, it's going to be a manual. So no worries, a manual car will be coming back to the channel. And there's also some cool shit with this car that I really like the carbon ceramics, the black mirrors, little touches like that. And it's cool, let's be honest, it's also cool to start over with a brand new car. That new car aroma pretty much makes it all worth it. I wish you guys could smell it because it is delicious. Fixing everything wouldn't really be that easy either because a new hatch is like $4 grand. I'd have to get one of those. And of course the doors are gonna be very expensive, as well as if I wanted it to be perfect. We're talking about making it like a new car, which is what I want. And if I want to do that, I'd have to fix this whole door piece, which they told me is like another 3,000 bucks. So there's a lot. It's not, I said it was easy, but it really wouldn't be that easy to put this car back to, or at least get it to the level or close to the level of a new one. One more thing we got to talk about, and that is the build itself. Not only did I want an automatic tranny, which some people were saying, well, why don't you just put an auto in this car? Do you guys realize that's like a $25,000 thing to get an 8-speed transmission and put it in this one? Now I could get a built auto, but I don't really want to do that. We got to talk about the modifications because I do want to go a different direction with this car. So when I first bought the Z06, I did not plan on modifying it. And I was looking at getting an exhaust, like a little axle back, like a Corso or a Magnaflow, Borla, whatever. And I was looking at the price, which was about 1,500 bucks. Then I started looking at headers, which were also about 1,500 bucks. And I said, well, if I can get headers, which add a lot of horsepower, for the same price as an axle back, and it's also going to give me more sound, more volume, which is what I want, why not just do that? So I got in touch with Andy. That's how Andy and I's loving relationship got started, by the way. Got in contact with Andy, and he was like, yeah, we can put headers in, no problem, we'll tune the car up. That was his first C7, by the way. And from that point on, I was hooked. So I got the cold air intake, I got headers, and here we are, what, 6 or 7 months later at 1,000 horsepower. But I do want to go a different direction. Like, had I known, it was kind of like one thing led to another with that build, with this build. But had I known from the start that I was going to go for 1,000 horsepower, I would have never started fucking with this stock blower because it sucks. And you can see that on the new one, actually, the blower hat is a lot bigger. I'm going to lose my sticker over there. You can see the massive difference between this one and that one. Just has so many limitations, not only with the heat issues, but just from a power perspective. It doesn't have enough volume, it just can't get enough air in. It just really sucks, like I said. And if I could go back, I wouldn't do nitrous either. Rather than having an 800 horsepower car, oh, I want 1,000, I'll do a 200 shot. I'd rather do it the right way and build a car that's actually making 1,000 horsepower without all this bullshit. The nitrous, you gotta turn it on. And I know I'm bitching about like ridiculous shit, but I just don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather build it a cool way. And if I'm saying, hey, I'd go back and do a Pro Charger, that kind of gives you a hint at what I might be doing for this car. Obviously, twin turbos might. Since we got both the hoods up, I noticed this says LT4, and this one says, built by Performance Build Center, Bowling Green, Kentucky, assembled with pride by Harvey Turner. In conclusion, all of those reasons are why I wanted to upgrade to a new car, and I love this thing. I love the yellow, as you can see. I love everything about it, but I did want to start over, and that's why I didn't want to switch a different color or anything else. I would have gotten like green or orange or blue if they had good colors, but for Corvettes, your options are very limited, so yellow it is. With that being said, I hope that, taking a Coke break, not the type of Coke break that Andy takes, but I hope that this explanation helps you guys to understand where I'm coming from, and I hope that that understanding helps you get excited about the new build. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you are stopping in for the first time, please subscribe. Take care. Have a great day.